So you went out, you bought a motorcycle, how do you ride it? Or you just like motorcycles, or you're curious of how it works, or whatever the case may be. Today I'm going to show you the basics of riding a motorcycle.
1, 2, 3, funky.
Let's start. Please do not crucify me if I get something slightly wrong or whatever it is, if I don't say it completely correct or whatever. I'm not a mechanic. I've been riding for about, I think, like 2 or 3 years now, 2.5 years, so I know how it works and all this stuff. But if I say one little thing wrong, don't crucify me. So here we go. So first of all, we'll start with the levers. So this lever right here is your clutch. Here we go, here comes the mechanics part of it. Think of like everything is in like a chain of reaction, like everything is kind of in a line. You got like the pistons that turn the crankshaft in cars, whatever, turns the flywheel, and the clutch touches against the flywheel or whatever, and those things, like, it pushes hard against it so it turns it at the same time, and then it turns your drive shafts or whatever, and then it turns your axles and turns your wheels. And bikes, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing, but again, I'm not a genius. When you pull the clutch in, it disengages it. So everything, instead of it being in one line, there's a break. There's a break in the chain, essentially, of power. So instead of things rubbing together, the clutch rubbing or whatever, and spinning your sprocket up here, it removes it. So that way just the engine over here is spinning, but you're not going to get power to the rear wheel, essentially. I'm trying to dumb this down as much as possible and not have it go over people's heads. So when you pull the clutch in, it just goes like this and the engine spins and you're not getting any power from back here. Again, don't hate me if I get something slightly wrong. The brake lever on your right hand is your front brake, and that's where you get the majority of your stopping power. That's where you get like your serious, I need to stop right now. Then this lever on your right foot, this one controls your rear brake. So you push this down and your rear brake goes. Now, if you use too much rear brake when you're trying to do an emergency stop, you can lock this brake up and you'll slide out, which is kind of what happened in my accident that I had. Don't use too much of this. This is where you need to get the majority of your stopping power. This peg is a lot like the one over there, except this one goes up too. Now this controls which gear you're in. So if I pull the clutch in or whatever, my bike is now in first because I had it in neutral. Now, half click up, that should be in neutral, all the way up second, third, fourth. Now this bike only has 4 gears. So these have what are called sequential gearboxes, meaning you can't just jump straight from first to third without going through second first. It's in most bikes like 600s and stuff like that, anything that's not small like this, usually is 1 down, first gear you kick it down, in between first and second is neutral, which sounds tricky, which it can be at times, but it's not too hard. And then the rest 5 of the gears are up. So 1 down, 5 up is the common saying. So you have 6 gears in most bikes. Neutral is in between 1 and 2. It seems like a lot to do, a lot to remember, and it is, especially if you're just now starting. You got your little Bambi legs out here. You're out here wobbly and everything. So to prevent from looking like Bambi, this is what I suggest. This is how I learned, and this is how I teach anybody who wants to ride this. I usually let people ride this. It's got the cage on it and everything like that, so I'm not too worried about it. But if they want to learn, this is how I learn them. To start the bike, pull your clutch in, and most bikes have a starter button, like right here. So you want to go ahead and push that. The good thing about bikes, though, is they're wet clutches. Most of them, unless you own like some weird Ducati, which is a dry clutch. But you can kill this bike a lot and hopefully not burn up your clutch nearly as fast as you would in a car with a dry clutch. So I'll show you what I mean by kill it. So when you go to kill your bike, that means you just let the clutch out too fast and it's still. So the other thing too with bikes, if you try to move it gears while it's sitting still, they don't really like it. So you have to kind of roll with them. So right there, it said it was out of neutral, but I wasn't really moving when I kicked it down into first, like the wheels weren't turning or anything. So it didn't really like it. So here's what it's like when you kill it. So it just lurches forward. And how I teach all of my friends how to ride is go inch by inch, getting a feel for your clutch. So all you have to do in most bikes, this one I kind of have to give it gas, loose. I have to give it gas, but right now, if I just, with my left hand, if I slowly start pulling out, you can hear the difference in the RPM. You can watch the gauge, the bike. So basically it puts a load on the engine now because we're trying to go forward. So all you have to do with this is when you start, get a feel. So we're going flat ground. All you have to do for when you start is get a feel for the clutch. Let it out, feel it start to pull you, and then stop. Pull it out, let it start to pull you, and then stop. And I mean inches. Most people are like, oh, okay, I'll get a feel for it. And they're like, oh, okay, now we're gonna stop here. No, literally inch. And then stop. Inch. Maybe go a little farther this time. And then eventually, once you start getting really comfortable with the feel of the clutch, then you can start adding in a minute amount of gas. Slowly start adding a little bit of gas at the same time. Oh yeah, and the throttle's on this side. I should have said that. So this handlebar is what you turn that and it goes. So let the clutch out, add a little bit of gas, and then eventually you let your clutch all the way out, put your feet up, clutch is all the way out, now we're riding. When you want to stop, you have to pull the clutch in too. I'm kind of jumping around here, but it's hard to think of everything at once. So when you start going, okay, now I want to stop. If I just pull, let's see if I want to do this or not. If I want to stop, it's going to kill it if I don't pull the clutch in. Here we go, we're going to go. Let out the clutch, give it some gas, and we're rolling. Now I want to come to a stop. I pull the clutch in, and I come to a stop. Ready to go again, let the clutch out, give it gas, and we're rolling. So I know this is a very basic how-to video, and it's not the most entertaining. I want this video to be very informational and helpful to people who are looking for this. Next week I'm going to make a video of how to ride a motorcycle like a man. There's a lot of little tips and tricks to learn with riding. Like for example, if you're going into a turn, do not brake mid-turn. If I go to brake mid-turn, the bike stands up. If I'm leaning hard to the left and I romp on that front brake, the bike is going to go like from this to this. It's going to stand straight up. So if you're going to go into a turn, you better put your big boy pants on and take it like a man, or slow down before you get into it. If you try to brake, you're going to stand up and you're going to high side, and that's very dangerous. High siding is the most, is the worst. You'd rather low side than high side. A high side is where you're going like this, the bike stands up and it throws you off. A low side is where you're making your turn and then the bike just falls all the way over and you just kind of slide. Just do it over and over and over again, and literally it will become self-conscious of myself. It'll become subconscious. You won't even think about it. You'll just be shifting like a boss. If there's anything that you think I missed, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Feel free to give out any other advice you have for riding. Like I said, this week's video is going to be very basic, very short and sweet, right to the point, which is kind of what I want. And then next week I'll make a comical version of this. It's Black Friday this weekend, so that means that your boy is having some sales. So everything in my store on Etsy will be 20% off. If I see you in person, I mean, I'll give you 20% off then, but still. If you get it in person, it saves both of us money, so go ahead and get it in person. But if I don't know and you want to buy it online, everything is going to be 20% off. So that $35 hoodie is now $28, and that t-shirt is now $18. Wait, that's 10%. It's now $16. Woo! Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody, and I'll try to get this video posted by today, and I totally should be able to. Not a whole lot of editing. So, yeah, look forward to next week's video if you want some comedy.